Marnin it's his favorite thing to speak publicly in front of people.
Forgive me if I only look at BJ.
Okay, so thank you so much for doing this, Marnin. This is amazing. Would you be willing to briefly share with us a point in your life where you came to the realization that you were powerless in your own strength to control your image, your circumstances, other people, your problems, or your pain?
Yeah. Sure. So my wife and I have been married for 9 years, and I know there's probably a lot of people that are double digits that are like, come on, get on my level. But when we first got married, the thing that everyone was telling me about her is that she's always wanted to be a mom. And when you ask little kids what they want to be, and they want to be a fireman, or they want to be a policeman, they want to be a doctor. My wife, her answer to that question was, I want to be a mom. And that was she was like 4. So that's always been there. When we first got married, I was still in university, early stages to become an engineer. And we both wanted a family. I come from a large family, so it was both of us have the desire. But we prayed to God, just, on your time, give us a family. And it wasn't happening right away. And we, think logically, that's good, because I'm in university. Just logically makes sense. But then university ends. And so now this fear starts to grow, like, okay, what's going on? Now it logically makes sense, and it's just not happening. And the fear grows, and it grows. And I didn't want to see doctors because, when it's not happening, but you don't know, at least, it could happen. But when we went to go see the doctors, realized my worst fear, that we couldn't have kids, and I was the reason. And my fear was that this has been a lifelong dream for her, and I can't give my wife what she wants. And then there was also the frustration of, it's always been our desire to have a family, and we can't. And then there are others, and I'm just being honest here. There are others who don't want a family and have one. So why can't I have a family?
Wow. Thanks, Martin. How did fear, frustration, fatigue, or failure associated with trying to be in control affect your relationship with God and others?
So I'll break it into two: my relationship with God, and then my relationship with my wife. So the frustration of why do others get to have a family and I don't? It's kind of, in the time I didn't know this, it's looking back, seeing it. But I felt guilty because I know God's good, I know He's faithful, and I felt guilty that I had this question about why. I felt like I was being a bad Christian, honestly, just questioning why He wouldn't give me a family. And so it affected my relationship with God because I wouldn't pray about it. The one thing I need to do is go pray about it, but I wouldn't. I would only pray about other things, or I just wouldn't pray at all, because there's that lingering thing. And then my relationship with my wife, when we found out, her response was just, "Are you okay?" And my response, my typical response, is suppress emotions, problem solve. And so just, I'm fine. I went to go do dishes because I need to do something. And then I hear her crying, and I just broke down because, I can't give her the thing that she wants. So rather than grieving with her, I went into problem-solving mode. So now it's, do all these things to try to make her happy, bring humor into the situation. Don't do that. Did not go over well. It's just, I wasn't the support that she needed. And I wasn't setting the example of going to God with our hurt. Yeah.
What would you say brought you to a place of admitting your need to God? And did this also include admitting your need to others? Were there roadblocks in getting to a place of admitting need or weakness? And how did you overcome any roadblocks, if there were any?
So the roadblocks, my own need for control. I don't like I hate not being in control. That's probably the engineer in me. I like to have all the information. I like to be able to control things. And then pride. And to be honest, I don't know if there was like a moment where I couldn't tell you the moment where things changed. It's by the grace of God that He worked in me and got me to that point. Sorry, could you re-ask the first two questions?
Yeah.
I forget. What would you?
You're doing good. And then how do you overcome any roadblocks, if there were any? But
yeah, I couldn't tell you an exact moment. It was just I came to the end of myself. I was gutted. I had tried controlling it on my own, and things were just not getting better. So it was out of almost necessity, right? Like I tried everything else on my own, so maybe I should do what I should have done in the first place.
I know someone who can relate. It's me. Last question, Marnin. How is humility to admit your need and weakness to God and others a powerful weapon? What kind of freedom or blessing have you experienced from taking a posture of humility?
It's when I try to control things on my own, I'm working out of a place of emptiness. So I push and I push and I push without any energy, and nothing gets better. And I just feel the weight getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And when I give it to God, that weight's gone because now I'm not in control, He's in control. And when you give it to God, you're working out of a place of infinite strength, you're working out of a deep well. You're not drawing on an empty well anymore. And, things don't necessarily get better instantly, but you know that you're putting your faith and your trust in someone who's going to be there for you and can control the situation. And, the thing to notice, like, this is not a one-time thing. I find myself having to go there time and time and time again every day because my natural tendency is to want to control things as if it's going to work better a second time, and it never does.
That's awesome. Thank you, Marnin, for coming up here and doing this, and just amazing to hear God's grace in your life, your love for Him, and this just letting us come into this journey with you guys is humbling to be a part of your story and to hear it. So thank you so much for sharing that with me and with all of us.